Hello, my name's Angelo with Freedom Mobile Living. Thanks for joining me today on this video. What I have is a bunch of questions as we get started. People are going to start asking questions, and I'll go ahead and answer the question. The Ride Local platform is built for drivers to receive 100% fares and tips, and then the booking fee goes to Ride Local itself, and that handles for the app development, redevelopment, maintenance, and marketing. So one of the first questions I've asked is John. He asked, so what happens with charging for cancellations and paying out cancellation fees concerning the passenger and the driver? Well, if a driver ends up canceling after they have been accepting the ride after 2 minutes, then they get penalized, $5 penalized for doing that. And we're trying to discourage drivers from doing cancellations, since that's a big issue with Uber and Lyft, and that's one of the biggest complaints I get from riders when I talk about how their feelings are with Uber and Lyft. That's one of the major issues. So in order for us to combat that, if a customer cancels after 2 minutes, then they get charged $8. So they get penalized even more, because we're trying to discourage them from canceling. And if they want to cancel, they can do it, but do it within the first 2 minutes as they have requested a ride. Let's see, one of the other questions we have: do you pay the drivers for any waiting time periods? Do you pay them for long pickups? Well, they're two separate questions. So let me answer the first one. Do you pay the drivers for any waiting time periods? Of course we do. One thing about the Ride Local app that we decided to combat is long waits in traffic or long waits with riders. So there are times when riders would like to go to a stop like 7-Eleven or some convenience store, and they just want to pick up a few items. Well, when they do that, Uber and Lyft charges 19 cents a minute. We charge 40 cents a minute, which is a big difference. That would discourage people from taking long periods of time, and if they do, the driver will be compensated for it. So what we're trying with the app is trying to combat all the problems associated with the rider, all the problems associated with the driver. All right, so the next question is, do you pay drivers for any long pickups times and long pickup mileage? Of course we do. The mileage is based on or the charge on our app is based on mileage and time. So I'll just give you an example. It's 40 cents a minute for time, and then the mileage is 80 cents per mile, which is more than what the driver is getting from Uber or Lyft. Now, the other one is, do you pay the driver a fuel surcharge along with each ride to help with the gas? Well, gas is kind of coming down, and since we pay 100% fares and tips, right now we don't pay any type of fuel surcharge. However, we do reimburse for all tolls or any costs associated outside the realm of your driving. So let's see, the next question: do you pay drivers a base fare? Of course, there's always a base fare with every driver, a minimum amount that they can take per ride. Right now we have that set at $6.25. So right now the base fare is $6.25. Do you offer any pay the drivers for surges, promotions, bonuses, and I guess it says Quest? Well, we do for surges. What we do is we have what we call nighttime. So on holidays and stuff like that, we will increase the rate on the mileage in a minute based on the demand. So if the demand is high, like on a weekend, a 4th of July weekend, for an example, the charge for the rider is going to be a little bit more based on the demand of the rides. And then that goes right to the driver. So anything we do is with the driver. And like I said, this was built for the drivers. So really, we get the input from the drivers on how we would charge for the minutes and for the miles. And that will really help them be more profitable. Let's see, all these things are done by Uber and Lyft. They're talking about the surges. We don't do it like that because I think it's really unfair to the rider, and it's really unfair to the driver. We want consistency of rides. We want, and if we do it, it'll be based on something that's like a 4th of July weekend or something like that. And that's going to be collectively, as drivers, we're going to make decisions based on that. All drivers really only receiving mileage and minute pay and tips with Ride Local. That's exactly what they get. Where all the competitive incentives with Ride Local, the incentive is you're going to get 100% fares and tips, and believe me, that's more than what you can get from Uber or Lyft or any other rideshare platform. The whole idea is for us to make more money as drivers, for us to have a sustainable wage that we can at least live on. So the whole important thing is that we can do our rideshare and understand Ride Local isn't a regular rideshare. It's to build your platform. So if you sign up on it as a driver, which it doesn't cost you anything, you build your platform one rider at a time. And since we're tying the rider with the driver, that driver is going to build their platform by every ride they get. Now, how do you get rides will be determined on many different marketing agendas that we have set out with Ride Local. And a lot of that is explained at the when we do the vehicle inspection and the meet and greet. And that way we can show you how to use the app, make sure there's no problems, you're pretty efficient with that, make sure you understand our marketing force and what we're doing. Now, Ride Locals has a marketing platform that's second to none. We're doing Google ads, we're doing face-to-face meetings, we're doing group meetings, we're talking to insurance companies, we're doing everything to promote the rides, because the more rides we have, the better it is going to be for drivers. So the next question, are drivers really only receiving mileage a minute? Where are the competitive incentives? Well, all the incentives have to do with 100% fares and tips. What other more incentives do you need? Now, if you get into it, it doesn't cost you anything to start the Ride Local program. It's totally free. There's no cost whatsoever. You get into it, take it for a spin run, and then see how that works. And that's really how you can. So incentives are only done by having more riders that are tied to you. So if you have a per ride, if you take a rider like with Uber and Lyft, I go take a ride for a rider for Uber and Lyft, and what do I get? That's all I get. I get the ride. With Ride Local, you get more than that. You get the rider. The rider's tied to you, so that opens up incentives for them to use you more. Also, for us to do a drip campaign to these riders to encourage them to use it more often. So incentives are generally based on things that the rider will get, but we will get more money per rider than you will get with Uber and Lyft. So your cost of the cost of sale per rider is going to be more. Now, another question they've asked, how can it be cheaper rides with Uber and Lyft than Uber and Lyft if you still charge them booking fees? Well, booking fees is part of the ball game. It's part of life. It's part of rideshare. Every rideshare charges it, and so do we. We charge a 25% booking fee, which is paid by the rider. Driver really never sees it, and it goes right to Ride Local. That's used for marketing. That's used for app development, for redevelopment, for upgrades, and for incentives. So that's what we do. So we have promotions that we run too, and that can be based on the individual driver. So we have coupons where if you get a rider to use Ride Local, they'll get $5 off, and then the $5 will go to the driver, and it goes right into their wallet. So we don't believe that you have to use it by reward. We really believe that what you can use it for is you can do it accumulative. So we pay it in cold cash or we pay it in reward dollars. However you want us to pay it, we will do it. So we do have some drivers that collect it and get it accumulate, and then when it accumulates, they decide to cash in on it when it gets $100, $50, or however they want to do it. Incentives and things and promotions that we do for the riders has to do with the driver. So we have a lot of marketing things in play. It's whether the driver wants to do it or not. There are some. I've had a driver before who wanted to give a free ride up to an $8 amount for new drivers or new riders, and we did that. That worked very good. He ended up building his base, because how many riders can a driver really drive? I mean, in a day's time, you have 8 hours, 10 hours of work, and that's it. So once you start building your riders up, you're going to find you're going to be pretty well booked up on a regular basis, week to week and month after month, from regular riders that you've taken before. And from my experience, when I have a rider I can tie into me, I end up getting more money from that rider. Why? Because we can not only become friends, but I get to talk and conversate with them. And when I conversate with them, I can open up ideas that they never really thought about. So those are the things I do with my riders. And I have some that are on chemotherapy. I have riders that are going to Johns Hopkins Hospital. So it depends on what type of platform and when do you want to drive. Do you want to drive mornings? Do you want to drive afternoons? Do you want to drive evenings or weekend nights? However you want it, we build your platform and help you do that based on what's best for you. So can you build it bigger than anything else? You sure can, and I proved it many times over. Every time I go back to Yuma, I drive again with other drivers. I go to Grand Rapids, Michigan, I do the same thing. And then I build, at that time, I'm building from my base. So I have built the base from the ground floor up on my driving platform 4 times. Every time I make a move, because I'm a nomad, every time I make a move, I build my platform. And then I go into cities and check them out and see what we can open up. We have a lot of interest in Cleveland, Ohio. We have a lot in Tallahassee, Florida. And then some in California. I can't remember the city in California. I'm trying to think, Oakland or something like that. But we're getting calls from every parts of the United States. And we will open those cities once we get 5 drivers. We get 5 drivers to sign up. So if you're watching this video and you think I'd like to sign up, but you're not open in my area, it doesn't cost you anything anyhow. Sign up, because the quicker we get 5 people that sign up, we will go ahead and run background checks and then decide to open that platform in that particular city. So that's really what we're all about. Really, there's nothing hidden in this, and really it doesn't cost you anything. We're not even charging you for a background check or inspection fees, which Uber and Lyft does. They charge you for, I know, inspection fees. It's like $20 with a Pep Boys. We're not even charging you that. We want you to get your platform open in your city, help us build it, and build your platform at the same time, and maybe add more drivers. Now, we do come up with a program that if you promoted a driver, and let's say you promoted a driver and they put your name on the invite code when they go ahead and sign up on the form on the website, when they do that, we're going to tie that into you. So if that driver drives for 90 days and they're active, and active meaning they have to at least do 15 hours a week. So if they drive 15 hours a week, they're considered active. In a period of 90 days, we are going to pay $500 per driver. So if you start adding your drivers to the platform, guess what happens? It becomes accumulative. You can start adding drivers. Let's say you add them this month and you added 3 drivers. Well, 90 days, and if you keep that up month after month, 90 days, you'll get paid on those 3 drivers with $1,500, and there might even be more. And then as they mature into the 90-day period, you're going to get paid even more. So you can, technically, you can help build it by adding drivers and make a side hustle income outside of your driving. So you can literally make different types of hustles with this. And there's a lot of things that we are planning on, and we're in the works right now to add to the platform. The whole thing about the platform, it's free for you to use. You can quit at any time, or you can decide to build a platform that's yours. It's almost like you get a drive right now. I did that once. I had a rider from someone's doing chemo, right? And I ended up picking them up from Uber. So I went ahead and picked them up, and then I took them to Tampa, which is an hour away, and they wanted me to wait so they can get a return trip. Well, I was in Tampa. It would only take her 20 minutes to run in, run out. So what I did is I waited until she got out, and then I instructed her, go ahead and schedule your ride. And then while I'm here, now it's paid by her insurance company, so she had to call the insurance company to get them to schedule it. And when I was here, she was in the back seat of my car. So as soon as the ride went through, I accepted it, and I gave her a return trip. Now, the problem with that is you can't do it all the time. I was lucky to do it that day, and she wanted me. She said, how can I get you every time? And there really is not a way when it comes to a third party like an insurance company. So really, she's out of luck, I'm out of luck. But if I would, they would done on the Ride Local platform, then it would have tied that rider into me, and then she would have been ahead of the game. I would have a good rider as part of my base, and she would have a good driver that is safe and secure. And like everybody says when they get into my vehicle, oh, it's so clean, it's so much space and stuff. And I do that all for the rider. It's all about making comfort. If I can wow them when they come into the ride, my ride, I can keep them. And that's really what it's about. It's about wowing people when they get into your ride. Give them a good, smooth ride, a safe ride, not heavy braking, not heavy turns, not weaving in and out of traffic, but giving them something that they can feel good about, they can feel safe in, and that's really what it's about. Hey, if you like this video and you want more people to know about Ride Local, hit that thumbs up, and that would help us as well. Other thing I suggest is if you want to be alerted on any video that does come out, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and that will also not only alert you, but also let other people know to tune into the Ride Local videos. I thank you for everything, and I thank you for watching and taking the time you have. And I will see you at the next video.
Sounds driving.